As is always the case, World Rugby look at the laws and they want to make changes to improve the flow of the game, maybe get rid of some of those frustrations. So we've brought someone to help us with our learning. Though the learning's been a little bit difficult for you over the last few weeks. Tell us why.
Oh, yeah, pre-season down at London Irish with the current new law trials, then popped down to Australia for the Bledisloe Cup and the June laws, back up here in Newcastle on Friday night for the ones that we'll go through now.
Why has this come about? How has it come about that the laws change?
So we all met the top tier one international coaches, you know, likes of Eddie, likes of Steve Hansen, and the top 3 or 4 referees in the world, just to see what does the game look like, is it working? And there were a couple of things which stood out, and a couple of things that we'll go through now where we say we can be better.
So 6 changes to the laws. We're going to focus on the scrum first. If we have a little look, this is what everyone's been complaining about. First of all, the put in at the scrum not being anywhere near straight, almost thrown at the second row's feet. But then also these long periods where the ball's stuck in the channel, no one's trying to hook it, and that's what we're trying to get rid of. So if we take, we've got a scrum half here, if we take the put in first and how that's changed, just talk us through it, Wayne.
Yeah, so, you know, this is a constant theme that we're being told about, get the ball in straight. So what we said, these go now hand in hand. We want the hooker hooking and we want this chap putting it on his foot, not in the second row. So we're going to say, you don't have to stand exactly in the middle, OK? You can stand just off centre, as long as his shoulder's roughly on that centre line, which gives him that slight advantage. But remember, this is a team that offended, not his team. And we're asking him not to chuck it into the second row, but chuck it in onto his hooker.
So he can start offset, but he's got to roll it in straight. And then what's this guy got to do?
He's got to hook. We just saw that clip, Ben. And what we saw there was a ball just waiting and waiting and waiting. And we want the ball out of it, and we want players actually running away with the ball.
OK, so let's get that ball in. It's hooked. Sometimes it gets stuck in the second row's feet. Now, in the past, you're not allowed to handle the ball in the ruck. We all know that, but a slight variation in case this happens.
Yeah, in case these big second rows get their feet in the way, Ben. So what we want the Billies, we want the Toby Falatau's running off the base of this scrum. So we're saying, if it's in around that second row, don't worry if it's not on your feet. Let's pick up the ball and let's get the ball back in play.
Right, the other slight variations or changes to the law that we've seen at the breakdown, if we bring Maro over, because actually Maro's one of the main people that used to employ this tactic. The first one, let's have a little look. So the ball's carried in. Good ruck, counter ruck, can't win it. Ball's free at the back there. Maro puts his big size 13 through the middle. Is that right, 13, 14?
Yeah.
Your ex-teammate Jim Hamilton, recently retired, says your career's over because they've changed this law. Just talk us through what you would have tried to have done.
Yeah, so previously, as a tackler or player coming in, I would first of all try and steal the ball. Once I realised I can't do that, I would probably try and get up and stick my feet through and kick the ball backwards.
Kick it out, particularly as a 9 went to pick it up, maybe get the knock on. How's that changed, Wayne?
Look, pretty negative, isn't it? What we want to encourage positive play. We don't want big size 13, 14s just toe poking it. So we're saying, can't kick it anymore. Try and hook it back. Pick it up if you get there first, but let's get rid of that negative tactic.
How's that changed your tactics? Have you been working on pre-season? Because obviously we know last year they brought in the edict that if you make contact with your foot on the head, it's an automatic red. So are you actually thinking maybe I'm not going to compete at all now with my feet?
No, so actually yes. But the thing is, so the emphasis for me will still be the same. So I'll still come in early, try and get my hands on the ball. If I can't do that, I'll just try and blast past, try and get underneath this man and blast past and try and disrupt the ball that way instead of kicking it.
OK, we've mentioned Exeter Chiefs. They brought Matt Kovacic in. We know Julian Salvi, Brendan O'Connor, all masters. If we stand up and show a tackle situation, all masters of reloading back to their feet, not necessarily getting to their own side, which in the past they haven't had to do, and attacking the ball straight away. Let's have a look at Matt Kovacic doing it in action. So Gloucester actually scored off this. Back on his feet, wins the ball. Wayne, how's that changed? What are we trying to do here?
Oh, look, I was a referee on that game, and you can guarantee whenever that happens, a crowd would shout, offside, ref, he's on the wrong side, players would appeal. So we're just trying to simplify this and actually try and encourage some more continuity. So we want this guy who jumps up, done really well to get back to his feet, but to get out of the way.
So he can still attack it, but he's got to come back to his own side before he does.
Back through the gate, and then again, as Maro said, he can now just come in, either counter-attack, or if he beats this man here, he can pick up the ball.
So again, we're opening the game up a little bit more, maybe getting a bit faster ball. We'll see more attacking stuff. Now, another thing that cropped up last year in a very high-profile game, you were playing England against Italy. Talk us through what happened in that game.
Yeah, so Italy employed this no offside tactic. So this man being Italy, that being England, they didn't engage in the ruck, they didn't engage in the breakdown, meaning there was no offside line. So this man does his doing now. He came in with a metre of the breakdown, obstructing the nice pass of the guy playing the ball.
So big uproar last year, Wayne. How's it been solved?
I think we were all sitting at home and going, this looks wrong, this isn't good for the game. And so you can imagine Eddie Jones sitting in that meeting in London saying we need to change this. And we just said, of course that makes sense. So as soon as this guy gets here, we create an offside line. If he decides not to pick up the ball immediately, we have an offside line, and this fella has got to come back onside.
But he is still allowed to play the ball, even though it's now a ruck because he's there. If he sees it's on, he can still pick it up straight away.
Yeah, we want the defence to make good decisions as well. So if the defence pan out too quickly, well, of course, there's a hole and he should take that. But what we want to do, encourage some players to come in around the ball, and then we've got that offside line and we can keep that continuity in the game.
Wayne, if you could come with me, we'll head back onto the floor. But once again, World Rugby and you guys that are in charge of that have just tweaked a few laws, and I guess in a way to simplify things. Well, we've got some great examples here. This is Louis, as I like to call him, Sycamore, in this clip. If we just get that up quickly. So a kick to touch. Brilliant bit of skill for Louis Picamole to keep the ball in. What's happened this year which has been changed? How's that been tweaked?
Well, just to make this a little bit more simple, mainly for the assistant refs, but also for the fans and players as well, it's just all we've got to look at now is if they take off from the field of play, so this side of the white line, they can do what they want. They can jump, they can catch a ball and throw it back before they land. Beforehand, we have to look where their feet were, where the ball was. But as long as they're jumping from the field of play, we're saying, keep the ball in play, let's keep playing rugby.
Absolutely. We've got a slightly different example here involving Billy Vunipola. And I think this is actually really good. Fantastic kick to compete. Billy, completely aware of his surroundings. Foot goes out, therefore that's deemed to have been kicked on the full. This has been changed, hasn't it, Wayne?
Yeah, those smart wingers like yourself who go where the ball would be coming towards them, you know, it's never going to go out, or it might just trickle out. So what they would do is they would catch the ball in the field of play with their foot out, and they would get the line out. What we're saying now is bring that foot in, let's catch a ball and let's go back and attack them. Let's keep the ball in play.
Essentially, I guess what you guys have done, and people say, why are you tweaking with these? But I guess it's to encourage really good bits of skill from Picamole and things like that, just to encourage a little bit more ball in play time, right?
Exactly. The punters come to watch rugby. They don't want to see stoppages and scrums and lineouts. Let's actually keep the ball. Let's keep the game going.
Of course, and I think we'll remember this next example from last season, unforgettable moment, was against Connaught.
The new rule, you're allowed to go to the corner and you've time.
Yeah, you're allowed to go to the line out and then have the throw. Yeah. You choose.
We all remember that brilliant bit of captaincy and also refereeing today's technology last year. And the law simply states, if the ball is past the plane of touch when it is caught, then the catcher is not deemed to have taken the ball into touch. If the ball has passed the plane of touch when it is caught or picked up, then the catcher is deemed to have taken the ball into touch, regardless of whether the ball was in motion or stationary. The reasoning, to simplify the law and increase the ball in play time.
Rolls off the tongue.
As simple as that, hey?
Yeah. Look, Matthew Reynal was ahead of his time, last year, where if the clock's gone to 80, in the past you couldn't kick it out and have a line out. But what we're saying is if you've got this massive weapon, an Exeter type, a catch and drive, then you should be allowed to use it. So off you go, kick it to the corner and then take that as an option.
OK, last thing, penalty try. Now, you score penalty try over the try line, you no longer have to kick the conversion, you get the automatic 7 points. Is there anything in the law, if I pick up the same ball where the ball's been scored that try, is there anything stopping me sprinting to that halfway line and not waiting for the defence to actually get set and restart?
Probably nothing within the law, but you got a couple of things. Obviously, rugby is built on its values, so we'd want the defence to be able to defend it, and also the ref's got to try and keep up with you. So he's got to run from the try line as well and get to the halfway line. So there's going to be a few seconds to allow everyone to get back to that halfway line.
I'll just George North you over my shoulder, drag you up there and try and get it going.